Hey, welcome to Business Growth Central. Good to have you back with us. I'm Nigel Bottrell, founder of Entrepreneur Circle.
I'm Cameron Bottrell, the Managing Director here at Entrepreneur Circle.
And I'm Elliott Bottrell, the Chief Marketing Officer here at Entrepreneur Circle.
And this week, we are going to be talking about marketing without money.
What?
Yes. How can you get customers? How can you fill the diary, get appointments, drag in all the patients and clients you ever need without spending a penny?
Guys, I've got something exciting to share.
What?
Oh my God.
I've gone viral.
You've got a virus?
No, I've gone viral.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
kind of viral.
How many millions? 6, 7,
I
8?
don't want to discuss.
Did you
but,
keep your
know,
clothes on?
If you, I went niche viral, okay, business viral, which is very different to normal viral.
Niche viral. That's a
Yes.
great way to say you got 100 views.
No, I'm really pleased
Yeah?
with what has been happening. So I've been making a bit of an effort to
You have?
post some videos on Instagram.
Yes.
Because a big part of my marketing philosophy as we head into the future is all around, having a human brand and being a person that people can relate to. And being a paid advertising man myself, that's where my skill set lies. I've never really ventured that far into the organic content world. And so there's a bit of a personal desire to kind of acquire that skill set for myself as well.
I see, yeah.
So for a while, I've been posting videos on my Instagram. I don't have any followers on my Instagram. I had about 1,000 who I'd accumulated from many years, from people that I've met at school and
All
university.
the rugby
and,
lads.
yeah, the rugby lads. Shout out to the boys. And so I started posting these videos, talking about business. Now, not going to lie, my first 15, 16 videos, I was very scared of,
Did they go
judgment.
viral? Did they pop
And
off?
not quite. I actually was losing followers.
It does make sense. Yeah.
Which I did preempt that because naturally my followers are a bunch of people I've met previously in my life that have got nothing to do with business. And so all of a sudden I pipe up talking about business. It's not really their thing.
Yeah.
So I understood that. I anticipated that.
Also, you're not that likable, so
Yeah, fair enough. And so I was ready for that. And after a bit of experimenting with various formats, maybe just me talking to camera, I did bring my sword into it a couple of times, which went down well.
I did see that.
so Game of Thrones.
Lord of the Rings.
Sorry,
One of the Ringwraith swords from the Fellowship of the Ring.
Nice.
Very cool. Anyway, then it finally clicked, and I landed on a concept that has worked really well. And all of a sudden, boom, had a string of followers, double-digit amount of followers.
Double digits.
Which, when you're going down, that feels viral. Okay? So we're now on the up.
Wow.
But, it's a good series. This is my little lesson so far from not an influencer. Is the thing that has started working was a series I started, and it was called, Part 1, Oversharing Everything That's Working Well in Our £1 Million a Month Business. And I would then share one piece of marketing that's been working well. But that concept is bringing in the followers.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I guess, if people want to see the content themselves, shout out. What's the Instagram handle?
At
Hold that thought, Elliott. Hold on. A business owner needs help. Gosh. Here we go. Who are we helping this week? Just in time. It's from Evan, everybody.
Evan.
Hello, Evan. Surname not provided. It sounds like marketing is easy, says Evan, when you've got loads of money to throw at things like Facebook ads, etc. But I do not have that luxury. Cash is tight right now. How can I still market my business and get customers in without breaking the bank? Wow. A great question. One that I'm sure many people have there. This is often an issue we see in people who are starting up in business or who are going through tough times. I think, there's this whole saying about, it's not the economy that kills businesses. It's cash or lack thereof. And I think if you're a business stuck in a low cash position, then it's almost can become this vicious circle. Because if you feel like you don't have the funds to market yourself and grow out of a crisis, then you can start to shrink yourself in, can't you?
Absolutely. But I will say, whilst cash crises are very stressful, they are fantastic drivers of efficiency. Because when businesses are cash plentiful, you get very relaxed.
That's
and
true.
it naturally breeds an environment where inefficiencies can run rampant. Yes.
You get flabby and complacent.
Too right. Got to trim that flab. And it really forces the focus. Nothing more than a bit of an intense situation to realign the team.
But should we focus then? But let's assume we've got no money.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So, like, how would we market a business if we had no money to spend? Because that will be
Easy peasy.
Easy.
straightforward.
Wow.
But useful.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I look forward to hearing your suggestions. But mine will be best. Let's start with mine. I think that there's a fundamental philosophy in marketing, isn't there, in terms of getting customers, because marketing and getting customers, it does come at a cost. There is a cost to acquire customers for your business. But that cost could be money.
Not in Evan's case, it can't be.
But if it's not money, then it's going to be time.
Ooh.
All right, there's a cost to acquire customers, and it's either going to be money or it's going to be time, because you can spend money to speed up the process and, mass outreach and, spending things like Facebook ads. That is just enabling you to get your message in front of more people faster. And so you speed up the process there. But if you don't have the money to spend, then guess what? We still have this option here, time. And we just need to put in the time and effort to actually do this a slightly different way. So, Evan, to anyone out there who's looking to grow their business and get more customers without spending money, buckle up, because we're just going to spend some hardcore time on solving this problem. And I think that, there's a wonderful little challenge that I'll say anyone who's looking to grow their business without spending money, the good old 100 challenge, which basically says, if you not want to spend money on growing your business, then that's fine. You're going to put some time in, and you're going to do 100 things to drive this business forward. That could be sending 100 emails. It could be going and finding 100 people on LinkedIn who are your ideal customers. It could be going out and delivering 100 flyers to the houses that you think are the right for you. But you're going to do 100 things today to get more customers and grow your business. And let me tell you do that for 100 days in a row, you'll be getting customers.
Yeah, especially if you do the prep work. Because before you kind of go out and get frenzied on activity, it's important to come back to the basics, because it's a very, very good point that you make around the cost, either time or money. But we would start any marketing with the 3 M's, wouldn't we? And we'd start with who do we want as our customers? Who are our target market?
Mm-hmm.
And let's not just understand who they are, but let's understand exactly what their problem is, what they wake up thinking about. Let's understand them properly, and then let's craft a message. That's the second M. Market's the first M. Message is the second M. And then let's craft a message that is utterly compelling for them. And again, this takes time, because you can overcome, a weaker message if you just throw loads of money at it. It's like the classic kind of throw stuff at the wall and some of it will stick. But actually, if we haven't got any money to spend and we're going to use our time, then using some of our time to craft a really compelling message, which might be around what we're actually offering and the offer and etc. and everything else, this will be hugely helpful before we start sending the 100 emails or the 100 connections on LinkedIn or doing the 100 things. Let's do the thinking first to make sure that we are giving ourselves the absolute best chance of getting the responses that we want.
And then the third M, of course.
Well, the third M is media. And it's very important, actually, because they come in that order. Let's understand the target market. Let's craft a compelling message for that market. And then, and only then, let's work out what the best media is to get the message to the market.
Mm-hmm.
Now, often that process does get shortcutted by a lot of people. And Evan talks about, I'll throw some Facebook ads up. But there'll be other ways to get his message to his market without spending money, and that's where we should
Too right.
give a little bit of focus.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge, Elliott. Here, we've got to get our message to our market. We can spend time, but we can't spend any money. I know where I'd start. I suspect you and I are aligned on this.
I suspect you're talking about
The L
your
word.
list.
Yes.
Well, there's fundamentally only 2 buckets of things you can do. You can either make content in some form online, or you can outreach to people. And we can do that totally cold, or we can do that to our beautiful list, which hopefully we have. Because in any time when your budget is extremely limited, You want to really take stock of what you have available to you, and you want to look inside at the business. And so the first place is the list. Hopefully we have got a list, previous people we have engaged with, previous people we have done business with, and understand, okay, what have we got here? And then let's start emailing them. Let's take that compelling message that we have created, and let's start to have some conversations. And that would absolutely be the first place to start.
I mean, the first email is like the most simplest thing anyone can do is the 3-line email. Because if you've got anybody that's inquired over the last 6 or 12 months, the 3-line email that says, "Hi, Bob, are you still interested in whatever it is that Evan's selling?" Lots of love, Evan. We start to get some conversations and we start to move it forward. So start with a 3-line email, and then we can start to construct it. But this is why having a list is in challenging times. Its value all of a sudden is
an absolute lifesaver.
And a lot of people probably don't even realize they have a list. A lot of businesses think that they are without a list of prospects, especially a lot of B2C, a lot of consumer-facing businesses who aren't necessarily, getting, leads and things like that. People are just coming in and buying stuff. And I think that there's a lot of businesses who don't even realize that actually, even just the people who've purchased from you in the past, that counts. That's part of your list.
That is a list, completely.
Customers
Absolutely
that are there.
Yeah.
All the email addresses that you've got from people who have purchased from you.
Yeah.
All of the email addresses once you have sent, digital receipts out to in the past.
Yeah.
That is your list.
Yeah.
And in some businesses, we are blessed in that we have very large lists because you've been going for longer or you have more inquiries coming in. But everyone who inquires with you, they're on your list now. You've got their details and they've shown interest in what you do at some point. And so it's now your duty as a business owner to actually remind them that you exist, because it's your job to remind people to do business with you, not the other way around. And so we mustn't take for granted the fact that we exist.
And it's like the the best time to start building your list, obviously, is on the first day you started your business. The second best time to start building your list, if you haven't done so, is today, because at some point it will become darned useful. And I mean, a lot of the stuff that we do model this very well here at Entrepreneur Circle, because a lot of the stuff we sell to our existing or past customers. And this is a truism that applies in every industry, in every sector. It's way easier to sell something to someone who has bought from you before. They know you, they trust you, they've got confidence in you, you've looked after them properly. The whole process of the sale is just massively, shortened and curtailed, and it's just a whole lot easier.
100%.
So I think in that regard, Evan, spending some of your time you've got to put into this, because it is on, well, let's start to look at this. If the list doesn't exist in an easy to access format, we'll start moving, let's start baking it through. We might have to export it from our bookkeeping system, whatever we've got to do. But we need some people that we can send some emails to, because emails, to all intents and purposes, that's not cost prohibitive. There's no cost to that. So we can actually start to send some emails.
Yeah. This is where you really reap what you sow in terms of how you have nurtured your customers, both after they bought from you, but also the job that you have done with them. Because if you have happy customers who really enjoyed your experience and you've semi-kept in touch with them, then boom. Moments like this are glorious because you can reach out with a specific buying message and it will be fantastic. If you have been a little bit lax and not been really nurturing your list quite as much, then you can pull out what I call the LTMO, the limited time mega offer campaign. Because when you've not really built much of a relationship with these people and we do want to try and extract some easy sales, one of the best ways we've done it in the past for our clients is with a limited time mega offer. Yeah. A very exceptionally compelling offer that is a mega offer because we don't normally offer stuff at this level, whether it's a particular discount or level of bonuses. It depends on the business. And then, of course, we do a whole campaign and it's set for a limited time. So there's a 72-hour window that we would blast this out, hard deadline, lots of emails. Ideally, we're then messaging and calling anyone that's interested as well. And that has saved the day. I mean, I remember we had a client who was having a really slow month and same thing. No sales had come in, so cash was really tight, so we couldn't increase the ads, nor did we have time. We ran the limited time mega offer and we did, I think, £106,000 in 72 hours, which was awesome. Yeah. So that can That's how you counter a non-nurtured list.
Well, it's also how you can get yourself some cash, because you can start to think a little bit differently about the business just for a short period. So you look at, well, if we've got no money to spend on marketing, how can I generate some cash? So you start to apply slightly different rules to your margins, for instance, and you look at what you can do. So there's this mega offer, as it were. It's something that you're not going to run this on an ongoing basis, but there's something that is really great value, because I use the word compelling. That's about the message. This is a good example of how you make something compelling, because you create something, oh my God, that gets people's attention that otherwise they wouldn't pay, they wouldn't give it the time of day, and so again, spending some of the time to create this offer and think about it in a different way, because actually, having sent the 3-line email out, because that's the first thing I would do actually, just to get the phone ring and generate a little bit. But now I'm going to create this mega offer, something that's really of interest. It has to work commercially, so I'm very alert to that. But its biggest requirement is that it gets cash flowing into my business. So I create the offer and I'm going to put it out to my list. Now I'm going to predominantly utilize email for that, because email comes at almost zero cost. I would not rule out a little spend on text messaging. We're talking tens of pounds on a moderate sized list. Shouldn't get into the hundreds if you do it properly. But the beauty of it, we all know, everybody reads every text message more or less. The same isn't the case for email, and so
again, and it depends on the situation you're in and the size of your list and everything like that. If your list is in the low hundreds, and you don't want to spend money on this, but you've got the time to spend on it, then actually there are worse ways to spend your day than actually literally pulling out your phone.
Well, that next. That's right.
Let's whether that's to literally call people up and speak to them, and if they don't answer, to just send them an actual text message. Just send them a WhatsApp message.
One better. Send people voice notes on WhatsApp.
Wow.
That is so underrated. If you spend an hour every day sending a WhatsApp to your past customers and prospects saying, hey, Cameron, hope you're doing well. Just wanted to check in. Do you know anyone that might be looking for this? Let me know. Something like that.
Presumably better than that. But
Presumably better than that. Yeah.
Without
Then you will get so many responses.
So you're saying send that out to your customers, as in asking like a referral thing.
Kind of like a referral, but also to cold leads as well. Let me explain why.
Please.
One, the voice note. What happens when you get sent a voice note?
You got to listen to it.
You play it 'cause you don't really know what's going on.
Oh no, not another voice note.
As long as it's a short one. And people listen to it and they hear the friendliness in your voice and they kind of feel compelled to reply. But then that messaging around, which I've mentioned on the podcast before, but do you know anyone that might be interested in getting this result that you help them with?
That's true.
Is great because we're asked for a referral, because they might be like, actually, yes, I do. Or they'll be like, it's me. I actually need that thing. But because we haven't asked them directly, excuse me, do you want this thing?
Much easier.
It's a pressure reliever. It disarms them, makes them more likely to respond.
Yeah.
So actually, much nuance in the...
So what's the voice note go again?
It says, hello, Cameron. Elliott here from ABC Industries. Don't suppose you happen to know anybody that might be interested in getting some help with the Facebook ads? I've got space to take on one extra client this month and just wanted to ask my network. Something like that. I've got to play it with a much better script.
No, I reckon by the fourth time we do this, you'll have nailed it. That's going to be great.
But yeah, the key thing, do you know anyone?
Yeah.
It is important there, because actually we talk a lot about Bananarama syndrome. How and Bananarama syndrome, named obviously after the best girl band ever in the history of the world. And they had a big hit back in the spring of '83, which I look back on as some of the happiest times of my life. And you two were not even born. But it ain't what you do, it's the way that you do it was the hit. And this is a good example of this here, because there is a scenario where you send voice notes but don't execute them very well. And the results
that would be pretty bad.
That's the point.
Would you like to buy this thing from me?
Rubbish.
Which is the point with all marketing, in truth. And before Evan dives off onto kind of new things and new thoughts that we're giving him here, and I know this is another thing you are a big advocate for this, is for people to look at what has worked before.
100%. Because presumably if you have a business that has had some customers in the past, those customers must have come from somewhere. And so actually looking back at the things you did previously that generated customers and interest, and then seeing, can we just do that thing again? Yeah. Because most businesses suffer from this affliction where they do some marketing or they do some activity and it gets some results and it's fantastic, and then they start to go and do something else.
Yeah.
Because we always chase the new thing. Yeah. And so normally we're actually sat on a treasure trove of things that previously just worked great and we just kind of forgotten that they worked and we moved on, when in reality we can just go and do it again. Yeah. So this is why in my marketing team, I put massive emphasis on every time we do something that works, we create a playbook on it. We document exactly what happened that worked so we can lock in the insight of what actually moved the needle. Because in marketing, while some of it's straightforward, honestly, it's such a joy when something works. Yeah. Because like 9 out of 10 things just won't work. And so when you find the things that do, you want to hold on to them, you want to cherish them, and you don't want to forget about them. And you want to max them out before you move on to doing a bunch of other new stuff. And so normally a session by yourself with your team, thinking back at the things you have done, the actions you took that led to customers, and asking, why can we not just do this thing again?
It's so true. I think it's like this little affliction that everyone has. It's this curse of being a business owner. There's always like a new shiny thing, or you do some marketing and it gets you a load of leads, a load of customers. So then you're really busy doing that. So it's like, quick, turn that off. And then you need some marketing again. It's like, right, what new thing can we do? Let's do something jazzy with this. Let's send some voice notes, whatever. I remember we had a situation back when I was heading up the marketing team here, and we ran a
Smaller
campaign.
business then.
All right. Well, we spent, I think it was like 10 grand or something. And we ran a campaign, and it was fine. It worked, you know. It netted out your ROI, but we were like, okay, great. What else can we do that's exciting and good? And I remember we were doing some analysis like 5 years later on all these different campaigns, and that one campaign that we'd run, that we'd spent 10 grand, was responsible for literally, it was like over £800,000 of sales had come in from that campaign.
Not in the first week or month.
Not in the first week, but actually, when you look back at like the last 5 years, over £800,000 of sales had come from directly from the people who'd come in through that campaign there. And I remember we were all just shocked. We're like, oh my God, we have not run that campaign in like 5 years. Yeah. Quick, turn it on, get it out
and
again.
This is interesting because I mean, you guys know what's the big sign on the wall upstairs in my mastermind room, and it says I've only got room to put one thing on the wall, and it says the worst thing you can do as a small business owner is to think like a small business owner. And there might be a little bit of that in Evan and his question here. Mm-hmm. He might be guilty of thinking like a small business owner, because now, again, just his reference, reading the question, it sounds like marketing when you've got lots of money to throw at Facebook ads. But just assume for a moment, if Evan has run Facebook ads in the past that have worked, then actually, Evan, what you should do is go and get the money. You know, if you've got account, I'm not suggesting you go and do this if you've never run them before. This is not a time to try new stuff on Facebook ads. I get that fully. But if you've got something that's worked before, if you've got a campaign that's worked on Facebook ads, go and get some money. It's not difficult to get money, but deploy all your creative juices. And
there are companies out there now who will give you funding specifically for ad spend.
Yeah.
Who will like look at the stats of previous campaigns and then decide on their rates based on your campaigns, and actually will lend you money so you can go and fuel your ad spend. You know, a lot of startups, and especially a lot of like e-commerce businesses, things like that, who actually go under on like the initial sale and things like that, but they're building their list and their audience and all this, so it's all worth it for the enterprise value and everything like that. You know, that's how these businesses grow, is they borrow money to then plow into the ads, because they know that actually if they spend the money to get the ads in front of enough people, to get in enough initial sales, they'll build their list, they'll get enough customers, then actually on the back end, people buy one, on average they buy another one, and it starts to
I mean, you've talked about in previous podcasts how many people at the implementer back in the summer came to you to look at their Google ads, and they were spending modest amounts of money on Google, but actually the opportunity was there to ramp up the spend. Mm-hmm. And in those instances, we do need to catch ourselves as business owners and just understand, because there is a different, there's good debt and bad debt, and there are some things that it's the right. Just go get the money. Put your focus into getting the money rather than finding other ways to get the customers. Mm-hmm. Because as Elliott said, if you've got something that works, that is a rare and beautiful thing in marketing.
I think we could definitely launch quite a high-end consultancy practice where we go into businesses. We charge a lot, but we'll go into businesses and we'll help them to grow. And all we'll do is we'll look back at everything they've done over the last couple of years, and we'll identify the things that worked, and then we'll present, well, you know what you should do? Do these 3 things that worked really well before that you've stopped doing for some reason. And I reckon they'd be thrilled. We'd be happy. I think that's something we should think about. Okay. Let us know in the comments, guys, if you want to start that consultancy.
It's a very good point. Well made, is that? A very, very good point. Well
100%.
made. Anything else for people to market when you got no money?
Yeah, I think the other thing you can do is post content. So you can create content with your time and post it on platforms. Think social media, think YouTube, whatever you most fancy. But there's a lot of leverage to be had here. There's a lot of businesses that can blow up from, dare I say it, a single post, because we are blessed that we live in this algorithmic age where our feeds are no longer just who we follow, but are actually fueled by these algorithms carefully understanding our inner psyche from all the data points and feeding us the exact thing that we want. So there's a lot of discoverability to be had. As far as content that leads to kind of sales in the quickest route, long form YouTube, especially for businesses, I'm seeing have a big impact. If you start making the right long form YouTube videos, you don't need many views at all. You're probably not going to get many views, but you're going to get quality views if you're making the right content that's compelling to the right people. So big advocate of that. And then of course, all your short form video platforms, Instagram, TikTok, and so on and so forth, can be very powerful as well.
You wouldn't start there if you had an urgent need for cash, would you?
No, it's much more riskier.
Yeah.
To be fair, and you absolutely want to exhaust the list and all the other options that I think we've said first. They're much more direct lines to revenue.
It's strategic, is that, isn't it? That's the thing. It doesn't require money, which is great, but it does require time. But it's strategic, so it's a more medium-term payoff. Whereas if you need the cash now...
Yeah, that's true, but it depends on how you make the content. Because, like, I made a reel, and it got not many views, and I had, like, 2 people message me asking to do some work.
Right. Yeah.
So like you do it well.
Yeah.
But like this is the thing, you've got to understand your strengths here. Because if you do not consume content, if you're not very good at content, then don't do it. That's the chance of probability of success is very low.
If you're not come across well in the content, try a different avenue.
But this is where you like people's success. It's like I think how Bananarama syndrome can come about is people who are ill-equipped or they go against their natural strengths and weaknesses can find themselves in a spot of bother because actually sometimes it's not the strategy, it's the person behind the strategy that's going to determine whether the strategy works or not. And if you fucking hate content or are really awkward on camera, then obviously that's going to be a terrible idea. So like, don't do that. But some people consume it and are actually really tuned in, and actually their probability of making a piece of content that lands very well for their target customers could get loads of customers straight away. So a little bit of knowing thyself is important when it comes to deploying these strategies.
Amen.
And again, because I always say, bit of a side tangent here, but I think enjoyment is really underrated to ensure that you don't have a cash crisis in the long term.
Here you go again, having fun.
Well, because if you fucking hate what you have to do to get customers,
that is true.
Then it's just, there's going to be a point where you drop the ball because you fucking hate it. And so might as well, like there's plenty of ways to get customers, might as well lean into the ones that, not saying you're going to love it, it's going to be your passion in life, but at least let's make it tolerable and enjoyable.
Tolerable ways to get customers. That's what we're looking for here.
We'll replace that wall graphic.
Focus on what is tolerable. And I guess, again, it depends on the business and the market, who your customers are. Because, you know, if you've got really cool, you know, if you're selling really cool things online, an e-commerce business that's, you know, quite low ticket, but very visual or like very hooky, like something that could go viral with a single post, then the content's an easier route. If you've got like a restaurant or somewhere where actually you can do content which is going to impact a buying decision today, like someone sees this crazy salad, they're going to come and get the salad, versus if you are selling, you know, industrial, you know, heat insulation for pipes underground or something, that's probably not a great immediate route to sales.
But when you're enthusiastic, people want what you got. And a lot of it does depend on how you do this. And the content piece, I do think there are more tactical, depends on Evans, how acute his need for cash is. Because my only caveat here is that the content route typically is going to be a slower burn to cash than some of the other things that we've talked about, which are accessible and doable like today. One of the little final piece, when I started out my business, before Entrepreneur Circle wasn't even a kind of glimmer in my eye, I set out as a marketing consultant, my first ever kind of iteration as an entrepreneur.
Did you go into businesses and tell them to do what they'd done that had worked?
And
You were missing a trick.
I was missing the trick.
You overcomplicated it.
But what I did do, I'm very happy talking to people, as you know, but the thought of having to ring people up cold just appalled me. And I do remember I've got to use my brain to come up with a way to get people to ring me. That was the whole piece of it. And I came up with a little device. This is obviously over 25 years ago now, and so kind of pre-internet. But I devised a newspaper front page. The whole notion was, and I made the business owner the hero. I had a target list of business owners. I created this thing in Microsoft Publisher, remember that? And printed it, framed it up. And I got a pal of mine to go around on his motorbike to deliver these. He used to use 10 for me at a time. And I was very nervous the first time he went off after lunch to deliver these 10 picture frames to these 10 business owners.
You sat by the phone.
Well, kind of, yeah. But somebody rang. It was like the most exciting thing. It was, it was. Oh my God, this was like amazing. And basically, what my little system was, if 10 picture frames went out, I got 3 calls. Wow. And if I got 3 calls, I got at least 1 customer, and that was my rhythmic acquisition as a marketing consultant 25 years ago, and it didn't really cost any meaningful money. I used to pay for Pete's petrol on his motorbike, and I took him and his wife out for a pizza sort of thing, so there was a little bit of cost there. There was some frames that I bought, but not a lot, not a meaningful cost. It was not a lot of money relative to the spend, of course, because my clients were spending £2,000 a month with me. The 10 picture frames all in, even with Pete and the pizza dinner was like less than £100, and I was getting a client for everyone, and that was joyous.
And a pizza dinner,
absolutely
and you got to go for pizza. Wow.
No, but I'm talking about different. So again, for thinking around, because sometimes the offline approach.
Offline is great.
It's so good nowadays because there's so few people doing it. And this is not about large scale direct mail, which is going to spend lots of money again, but very focused on a dream list, getting creative, what you're going to send people, can we get them talking? I've got some a customer in one of my other inner circle groups that they're targeting universities, particularly people in universities, and they're just sending very nice. There's a reason why they're sending it, but it's a nice box of chocolates. But it's a very nice thing, and there's a reason why. Given there's a link to them, what they're doing, but they're sending these chocolates out, and what they're getting is the people that are getting the chocolates. Most of them, 7 or 8 out of 10, are responding on LinkedIn with a little thank you message, and that just opens the door. It's just that little crack. The doors open, the little cracks. We want to get to a conversation.
Smash through.
But there we are. That's the way. It's a different routes for different types of businesses. I think is the
to get resourceful. I remember when I started my agency, and I just took stock of all the people that I knew with a business that I felt reasonably confident that I could help, and I just started messaging them and asked them if I could come and have a face-to-face meeting with them, and then would just come along with a whole presentation that I spent loads of time on, explaining exactly how I could grow their business, and then at the end have a little pitch. Do you want me to do this for you? And that worked great.
Nice.
I think, sometimes we forget that in order to make a sale, in almost every case, you first have to ask for the sale. And if you're trying to grow your business and get more customers and make more sales, then the key really
asking more people
is to ask more people.
Or at least ask more often.
Yeah. And that's the focus and that's the goal. And all these different ways that we're talking about here, all these different ways to ask for the sale and to get in front of people and to start that conversation. And that's the focus. And there's plenty you can do without spending money. But again, you can either spend money or time. A lot of these things take a lot of time. And so there are businesses out there who have money to spend on marketing, who could quite easily fund all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
But choose not to.
Yeah.
For some sort of moral reason or some sort of,
Which is great. So hopefully that's a good episode, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think so. Now, throughout this episode, one particular Hollywood movie has been going through my mind. It's a movie that you know very, very well. Why has it been going through my mind?
Twilight?
Which particular throwback to your childhood has been triggered by this question?
Well, I hope it's worth it.
Oh, it's going to crash and burn, is this, if you
Yep.
don't recall we're not on the same telepathic wavelength that I thought we were on.
Literally, what are you on about?
Oh, goodness me.
Go on, reveal.
Goodness me. I want to see the sort of source of recognition as it kind of comes out. Right, all I can think about is Bruce Almighty.
Why is that from my childhood?
Because you love Bruce Almighty.
Yeah, but I was. How old would I have been when that came out?
Not very old, but you did love it. You did watch that film a lot.
But I wasn't like 6, was I? I was.
No, but Evan's written in.
That's such a rogue reference to end this on. Evan from Bruce Almighty. It's not, like, no, you're right.
Your dad's got
At
very
one
nice
time, we
paternal
did watch
memories.
Bruce Almighty, and there is a character called Evan in it. And I'm sorry I didn't think of that through the whole podcast.
What happened?
What do you mean?
You must have watched that film 20 times.
Honestly, great film.
In
Highly
a
recommend.
single weekend.
Almost as good as Evan Almighty, the sequel to Bruce Almighty. Which, goodness gracious. Okay, well, on that note,
Thank Evan for his
to
question.
Evan, thank you, wherever you are. To Bruce, we miss you. Come back soon. And to all of you listening, watching, have a look. Are you subscribed to the podcast? Sometimes you think you are, but you're not. Click that subscribe button down below. Make sure you give us a follow wherever you are. Recommend a friend if you know anyone. Just leave you a voice note now. Sorry, do you know anyone who might be interested in a podcast called Business School Central? Send them our way. We'd love to help them out. Wow, maybe it's you. Maybe it's a friend. Share the podcast. We'd love that. And we'll see you for another fabulous episode. Ooh, which movie will it be themed around next week? Let's find out. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.